We're gonna go to the atrium. You've gotta be kidding me, shouted Kid, glaring at me. Are you telling me to swim through a bloody lake of pteranodons? Yeah, you can count me out, mate. How am I supposed to charm me victims with big chunks bitten out of me? I guess she had a point. Here's a better plan. Why don't we go back to Birdie and try sticking something down his gob? Oh. Yeah, but it's on that corridor anyway. Sure enough, she pulled out her bundle of odds and ends. Do I have to? I asked, knowing the answer, which were probably just as well since Kid only glared at me in response. My hand over for a moment before I finally reached for something. I choose. The hand-shaped plate. I took the hand-shaped metal plate we found. After taking another look at the runes, I was no closer to working out what they might mean. Here goes nothing. I stuck the plate into the mouth of Truth's marble maw. As soon as I did so, its eyes rolled upward and the wall gave a light judder. A low rumbling sound came from the sculpture's mouth. This, indeed, is the ultimate truth of the universe. Did you hear something? Yeah? I watched the mouth of Truth in confusion. Its great marble tongue lolled out almost like a snake. It coiled around the plate, seizing it and pulling it deep inside. What's going on? In panic, I looked for Magil for answers. Seems this ineffable truth of the universe has left even the mouth of Truth's tongue-tied. Magil's answered in his unusual deadpan manner. I think he might even have been trying to make a joke. Hang on, so that plate thingy revealed the truth of the universe? And... okay, so this is a Kid. And you went and crammed it down Betty's gullet? Do you realize how much we could have sold that for? Kid kicked the floor in frustration and snapped her fingers. And then drains on all sides of the room suddenly opened wide. The red water formed eddies as it sank away. Oh! So we had to do this, because that was the only way to drain the atrium. Helpless, the pteranodons were washed away with the current. Soon, only trickles of water were left, slowly dripping away. Well, that's a stroke of luck, ain't it? Guess we won't be sleeping with the fishes tonight, grinned Kid, looking at the empty pool. We crossed the drain room, making for the exit on the other side, and pressed on. We went through the atrium and continued down the corridor before finding ourselves at a fork on the road. Really? The corridor stretched out to the left and right. We went left, right, or back. Let's go left. We continued down the corridor, eventually reaching an old, rather sturdy-looking door. Bloody marvelous. Another bloody door with a bloody magic barrier on it. Wonder what's inside. Me six cents tells me it ain't treasure. Kids whispered back to us as she examined the door. I suspect this is the Manners dungeon, replied Magil, his eyes closed in concentration. I can hear the sound of someone's moaning in the darkness on the other side. But there's nothing we can do, and thus it is of little concern to us now. Let us turn back. With no way of getting through the door, we retrace our step down the corridor. Okay, let's go right then. The corridor also continues directly ahead, the way completely enshrouded in darkness. Straight on! We continued down the dark, dank corridor until some stairs leading downward finally came into view. We went down the stairs, another level. Slowly, we crept down the staircase, descending deeper into the shadow as we went. I'm gonna save here, even though I suck at life. At the bottom, we found ourselves at another intersection. The dim, narrow passageway branched left and right. We gonna go left. We continue on down the corridor until it ended at a large door covered in scratches and other odd marks. And The door was above the door was a wooden plate. It bore the legend "Guard Room" in elaborate calligraphy. Well, well, reckon this might be when to find the key to that door upstairs? No getting past that bloody magic barrier without it. Kid pressed an ear against the door and listened carefully. Doesn't sound like anyone's in there, she whispered. We turned back and we went in. We're gonna go in. Kid opened the door. The room had seemed completely silent from the outside, and so we had thought it would be empty, but there inside was a lone goblin. It was sitting in a chair with a book in his hand. A light steam drifted from the teacup on the table in front of it, and with it a delicate aroma. The goblin peered at us curiously over its spectacles. So this is a nerd goblin. Even had hair. Is it a half goblin? There was something different about this one. I could tell as much as a glance. Heavens! How rare it is to have guests. Heavens! How well spoken for a goblin. I could only feel dread and suspicion at the sight of him nonetheless. Sorry, mate, but we're not your guest. Cough up the key to the dungeon if you want to live. Kid slapped the knife onto the table to illustrate her point. But the goblin didn't so much as flinch. Ah, you must be Kid. What a pleasure this is. I've always so wanted to meet you. Why, you even more ravishing than rumor would. Before the goblin could finish, Kid's knife flew through the air. With a quick flick of his whip, the goblin caught the blade with the back of his book, a mere inch from his face. I see that your approach is as radical as the name of your merry band would suggest, the goblin said, pulling the knife free and handing it back to Kid. She took it without a word, but her gaze had changed. She was like a cat cautiously starting its prey. And I was just getting to the good part too. Well, I suppose I shall have to give up on ever finishing it now. The goblin casually flung the book over his shoulder and into a nearby bin. Oh! Because the book blocked the blade? Oh no, I cannot read the book because it's torn. So yeah, it's good for garbage. Allow me to introduce myself, if I may. I am Grismeld, and I am the guard on watch. No need to stand, no need to stand. Please, do take a seat. You're welcome to tea, of course. The goblin beckoned us to sit down. Did he mean to poison us? If I may. McGill calmly took a seat, ignoring the obvious suspicion in the air. I sat down next to McGill. I looked to Gil. Oh, I'm gonna sit down. Like, this guy doesn't want to fight. He's not here to fight. I decided to trust McGill's instinct and took a seat next to him. He had some kind of plan in mind, I was sure of it. Kid didn't look like she'd be pulling up a chair anytime soon. She was standing with her arms crossed, eyeing the goblin suspiciously. The goblin poured 3 cups of tea. Here you are. Without the slightest hint of hesitation, McGill took his teacup and lifted it to his lips. He sipped and placed the cup back on its saucer. Hill Mail and tea. Not than I expect to find here. What a pleasure it is to encounter a fellow connoisseur. Yes, it is a rare blend, and one mainly enjoyed by the noble classes. I couldn't believe the conversation I was hearing, but I also couldn't help wondering what this rare tea might taste like. My eyes rested on the cup that had been poured for me. Please tell me that the tea has healing properties, cause I'm near death. Couldn't shake the fear that it might be poison, but I also couldn't ignore how delicious it smelled. Before I knew it, the cup was in my hand. This is great! I blurted out. I never had such a delicious brew in my entire life. My aches and pains faded away. Yes! I glanced over at Kid, who was blowing manically at the liquid in her cup. Yeah, too hot. I'd forgotten that she was paranoid about burning her mouth on things. Now that we're comfortable, let's get down to brass tacks, as they say. I do indeed have the key to the dungeon, as you surmise, but you will also be aware that I cannot simply give it away. I glanced over to Kid again. Typical. She wasn't listening to a word Grimsmal was saying. She was still huffing and puffing at her tea. It seems it would be up to me to respond. Here's our offer, give us a key and we get to live. I suppose that means you want something in return. Okay, let's be civil with him. You would like to know what I want? I want your heads, Grisman Alex. Or rather, I'm sure that's what my employer would have me say, but no. I had no such barbarous aspirations. Furthermore, I doubt I would be a match for you. Grismal chuckled as he said this. What I live for is the joy of conversation, which I fear my compatriots are ill-equipped to supply. Yeah, so I have the opportunity to take up the knife, but that could have been as a reflect. So basically, not doing anything was a good decision here. Perhaps you might have one or two ripping yarns to share. Grinning, he added, I'm sure notorious thieves such as yourself must have more than a few thrilling tales up your sleeves. So he wanted to hear a story. That seems a more than fair price to pay for the key. I closed my eyes and thought, I know just the story. How did it begin? One night, a young girl was walking alone in the forest, and then she was searching for a golden sunflower, the only way to cure sick mother's illness. She was out hunting for bugs. And then she walked and walked. Sunflowers nowhere to be found. Poor girl went without food for 3 days and 3 nights. Fragments I remember seems about right. The only one way the story could end. Took a breath and began my tale. Walking along the forest, searching for a golden sunflower, the only way to cure a sick mother's illness. She walked and walked. The sunflower was nowhere to be found. And then, the moment the darkness dispersed, she saw a brilliant light. It was none other than the golden sunflower she sought. The young girl gratefully pocketed the sunflower seed. These will surely save my mother, she thought. She rushed home to give them to her, and their dear mother was hale and hearty once more within days. And they all live happily ever after. That was beautiful, murmured Kid, wiping a tear from her eye. Grimsfell frowned. Not quite what I was expecting, and not the most riveting of tales, but I suppose it will do. Yeah, that was like kind of to the point. It was like, meh. It ended too quickly. He could have more epic. I could have gone with the other thing. I wonder what the other story would have gone to. The key, as promised, I took it from Grismal's hands. Something didn't seem right though. Was he really going to give it up so easily? And was it really alright to trust such a strange goblin? Grismald seems to notice my suspicion. He leaned back into his chair, looking at the ceiling. When I was a young tyro, a braver, stupider goblin, I once served General Viper, who was the lord of this manor until his betrayal by Lord Lynx. Despite my boorishness, Lady Riddell always saw something in me worthy of praise. Ah, I was right. Riddell is the daughter of Viper, but Lynx took over the manor. Of course. So Viper was dead, but Riddell was then adopted by Lynx. For some reason. Wait, Riddell? What's Lynx's adopted daughter got to do with anything? Oh, you didn't know? Riddell's real father was none other than General Viper himself. Yeah, I knew that. What? Lord Lynx spared Lady Riddell's life so as not to snuff out that of the frozen flame. It is an uncanny stone, you see, as he has a lover of his own and some kind of spiritual bond with Lady Riddell. If only there was some way that I could free Milady from this manor. Alas, I alone am powerless to do any such thing. Of course, I would have no qualms if, say, you were to topple the usurper. I assume you intend to? Slay the old beast, I mean? It was a strange inquiry to make so casually. Well, if it comes to it. It was more than a little taken aback by the directness of Grimsmal's question, I never expected to find one of Lynx's own guards asking me something like that. Suddenly I was shoved aside. Not if it comes to it. We're gonna kill him tonight! And kill him good! It was Kid, of course. And in exchange, I'll have some more of that tea to take with us. He held us her hand before Grimsdale offered an answer. I suppose I have a bag I can share. Grismel shuffled awkwardly in his seat as he retrieved it. As ever. I was impressed as how Kid's uncompromising attitude and willingness to speak her mind seems to always get her what she wanted. Bonza! Sit tight and leave the rest to us, mate! Stowing the bag in her pocket, Kid took the job. You can trust me, I'm a girl of me word! That might have been the biggest lie she ever told. Right, let's get moving! She made for the door with a spring in her step. We left the room and Grismel behind. We left the room and took the left turn down the corridor. We followed for a while before coming to an intersection. The way to the right and the staircase going up. Corridor clear ahead. The way was completely enshrouded in darkness. We pressed on. Followed the corridor for a while before coming across a small door. Get a whiff of that. Something smell good. Whispered Kid, sniffing at the air. Okay, so the door is at the end of the corridor. So we went inside. Oh, there's light. We opened the door. Blimey! This is a small kitchen! Must be for the servants, commented McGill. I scanned our surroundings. A basin for washing dishes, cooking utensils, some food made ready for tomorrow, and a mousetrap. Looked like any other commoner's kitchen. Kid walked over to a large pot filled with food and peeled inside. Looks like tomorrow's lunch. Wanna try some, Serge? I was feeling hungry. I respectfully declined. This is goblin food. And right now, I'm feeling healed up, right? I'll save, just in case. Timidly, I peered into the pot. It looked like stew, and it didn't smell bad at all, most inviting. I scooped some up with a ladle and brought it into my mouth. Gulp. It was delicious, or it was revolting. You should grab a bowl, Kid, I urged between bites. Kid was looking at me again, staring at me intently, in fact, like she was searching for something. Well, you ain't going green or nothing. Guess it's safe. Alright, let's have a try. She licked her lips with anticipation and swiped my spoon right off my hand. Fancy a taste, Mag? No. Kid grabbed the bowl from nearby and began spooning out more. I did the same. We ate our fill. The stew was still warm as it felt as though the magic of flesh home cooking was easing my wounds somewhat. Suddenly, a little voice rang out. You there, the young man with the braid! Kid froze. Oi! Who you calling a bloke? Kid barked angrily in the direction of the voice was coming from. A mouse was looking at us with eyes like saucers from the inside of a mousetrap hanging from the wall in the corner of the room. Oh, I'm sorry. You're a young lady, I see. The mouse bowed his head in apology. Please, kind young lady, you must hear me out. The mouse puts his paws together and stared plainly at Kid. I left the nest to find food for my mother, but as you can see, I managed to get myself caught in a trap. If you leave me here, I will surely be eaten by goblins. Kid eyed the little creature suspiciously. Eaten by goblins? Wait, that's two! Putting two and two together, Kid rang for the sink. I beg of you, please, free me from this trap. My mother is sick and she'll be terribly worried about what had become of me. The mouse was clearly begging for its life, but there was also an odd little glint in his eyes. Meanwhile, Kid was at the sink. Ugh. Oh, I'm never gonna get that taste out of my mouth. I'll be buggered if I'm hanging around here any longer. Kid had returned from the sink, only to stamp off toward the door. She was looking very green around the gills. Kindly young lady, I don't suppose you could free me first? You got yourself into this mess, you can sort it out yourself. Kids all but spat on the ground as she left the room. The mouse eyes welled up as it looked at me. Young man, please, you're my only mo. Okay, I free the mouse. Fine, unable to bear it at staring at me anymore with those pleading eyes, I lifted up down the cage and opened the door. The mouse bounded happily from the inside. The mouse gave a wicked chuckle. Oh shit, I shouldn't have done that. You poor naive fool! Suddenly his body began to balloon massively inside. Oi, Serge! What are you doing? Kid stopped in order the moment she opened the door. Another griffin. How does that work? Nah. Guess what? No. Guess what? No. I'll do it. Like, in a fantasy setting, a talking mouse, it's not unlikely. But something in my mind says, what if it's a trap? Because usually mice can talk, and this one has red eyes. So, it was the same color of eyes as the griffin. So it's like, that doesn't make sense, because usually griffin don't have shape-shifting magic. Like, ever. So it must have been some sort of sorcerer who happened to be an animorph, and his battle form is the griffin, you know? So I'm gonna have to let the rat So it was probably griffins too. Left the mouse to its fate. Sorry, we got things to do, Mamu following after Kid. Promised myself I'd come back this way later and free the poor little thing if I could. The corridors stretched off to the right from the kitchen. We retraced our step. Leaving a room behind us, took a right turn down the corridor. We followed a wall because going to an intersection. We went left toward the stairs going up, because forward is the guard room. Okay, so continue down. The path to the left will take us back to the atrium with the fountain. Going straight will take us to the old sturdy door. Okay, let's go towards the cell. Continue down the corridor, eventually reaching an old sturdy looking door. Right, the key we got from that creepy old goblin should do the trick. Kid slipped the key into the lock. The heavy door groaned slightly as he slowly swung open. Clammy air rose around our feet as if crawling blindly through the darkness. That didn't seem like the kind of place anyone in their right mind would visit voluntarily. We pushed the heavy iron door the rest of the way open and stepped into the darkness. There was rows of cells, all locked behind iron bars. 1, 2. Gulliver, Melgid, Saranda, forgive me, please. Please, forgive me. We heard a voice from the third cell, whimpering and crying pathetically. I strained my eyes to look inside. Faintly in the darkness, I could see something that looked like a man sitting on the floor. So this was the source of the voice. Oi! You alright, mate? Kid called out to the figure.
Forgive me. It's my fault. My fault. The Dragoons never deserved this.
Is that Radiant?
General? Lady Riddell. Oh, forgive me. I beg of you.
The old man didn't seem to respond to us at all. He only sat facing the wall, begging forgiveness for who knew what. Hello? Can you hear me? Asked Kid, trying again.
There'll be no getting through to him.
His real self will have long since retreated inside the shell he has created, said McGill, cutting her off. Shell? What do you mean? I asked. He has built a shell around the core of his psyche in order to shield himself from the truth. He is running from something terrible. He has seen something, or been through something, or has done something. And so he has created his own world on the inside as a final refuge, the outside world lost to him forevermore. I looked at McGill in surprise. I had detected a hint of unspoken sadness in his words. And for some reason he was looking at Kid, watching over her as she stares at the man in the cell. Seeming to notice my gaze, McGill turned back, face to me, assuming his usual emotionless expression once more. We live in a world of sorrow and foolishness. It's only inevitable that some would try to escape it. But despite his hard words, his eye retained a certain... Let me read that again. But despite his hard words, his eyes retain a certain softness, his steely gaze giving way to a gentle light. You understand? I think so, or can you be a little more specific? I gave a slightly evasive answer. You seem confused. I don't blame you. You'll come to understand eventually. McGill looked at me and Kid. Question mark? What was that all about, I wondered. We're not gonna get much out of him. He's miles away. Let's just leave him be and try someplace else. Kid made for the door of the dungeon. Wait, called McGill. We must find some way to get this man to speak. What for? I mean, he's speaking already, but just none of it makes sense. What are you after? Some things he said piqued my curiosity. He mentioned the Dragoons, and Riddell too. So, you said the Dragoons are ancient history, snapped Kid. Besides, how can we trust anything he says? He's clearly gone off his rocker. She had a point. The old man had long since cut his ties to the real world. What did McGill expect him to say? Without missing a beat, McGill replied, We simply have to bring him back to reality. And how are we gonna do that? You want me to do a little dance for him or something else? See if that gets his motor going? Please don't. Or ... I'm gonna go with ... I knew if I said anything, I'd get nothing but the earful of a lifetime in return, so I clamped my hands over my mouth to save myself. What are you playing at, Sarge? Kid seems unimpressed. Phew, that was a close one. Don't think that would work, said McGill dryly. Kid's first flew straight towards his face. But McGill shifted his weight effortlessly, avoiding the attack, and continued. We must break through the shell he has created and drag them back to the real world. And in order to do that, we'll need some kind of key. Something that will reach him even though the barrier he had erected. Even through the barrier he erected. Yeah? Where are we gonna find this key? Asked Kid suspiciously. I don't know, came McGill's simple reply. But there's someone in this manor who can tell us. The guard. You don't mean... You're not talking about Riddell, are you? I am, replied with a nod. Alright, fine. Don't know what the heck you expect her to tell us, though. Kid turned on her heel and made for the door. We went to Riddell's room already. We left the gibbering old man in the dungeon alone with his sorrow. Followed Kid and McGill back out into the corridor. After making our way down the dark corridor, we came to the branch in a path. Path to the right would take us back to the atrium with the fountain. Well, if we're going to Riddell's room, we have to go through the atrium. The corridor was dark and clammy. We pressed on, and soon the entrance to the atrium came into view. We arrived back at the atrium. An exit leading to Lynx's Riddell's room gaped ominously from across the cavern. Yeah, we continued on. Leaving the atrium behind us, we immediately found ourselves at a fork in the path. The right way was a passage, some stairs leading up. Dark passage directed away. Okay, we continue to the path ahead. So the first door is supposed to be Riddell's room. So we made our way through the silence of the corridor. Something cold landed on me from above. Put my hand up to my hair and felt a squeeze inducing sliminess. Oh man. We're fighting another monster. Ew, slugs! I lifted my head toward where it came from, and the mass of the disgusting creatures hit me full in the face. Blah! As fast as I could brush them off, more of them landed on me and around me. It was literally raining slugs. Before I knew it, they began to pile up wetly around my feet. They crawled all over me in a flail and flap as I tried to shake them loose. Quickly! Back the way we came! But as we turned, we saw that the entire corridor was a writhing mass of the creature. It's like the floor is made of them! A shiver of revulsion ran down my spine. I ain't trampling over that little cop of the grouse! Kid shook her head violently, clearly far from her muse. But the more we stood there, wondering what to do, the more they kept piling up. Just have to charge through them, just have to pick our way through them. Let's pick our way. I made up my mind to step into the writhing mass when Kib stopped me. No, I can't do it! Not slugs! I had no options but to crouch down and offer to carry her. Alright, up on. She happily jumped up onto my back. Phew, she was heavier than I thought. With every step I staggered forward, Kib wrapped her arms more tightly around my neck. If I had time to think about it, I think I might have swooned a little. One fell down my neck. I struggled to keep from dropping her as she wriggled and writhed. Sash, get it out! She cried, squeezing me tighter and tighter. Get down first, I grasped. She had no choice but to swallow her revulsion and climb down. Ah! She gave another huge scream. I looked behind me to see that it shoved down right on top of a slug as thick as my arm. Her boots were covered in gooey wads of burst slug guts, and a sickly green stain was quickly spreading over them. I can't bloody deal with this! She leapt right back and started squeezing my neck even more tightly than before. I could barely breathe. Knock it off, kid! You're choking me! I managed to pry her free, but not without some serious effort. At that moment, McGill appeared unexpectedly from the shadows and pointed to a bend in the corridor. There! A gout of flame erupted from his fingertip. The flame chased something screaming from the shadows. And it came barreling straight towards us. Oh! I threw myself to one side. It's the demon from before. The monster's side whooshed through the air toward me. I kept my body low and dodged to avoid the attack. I was alright, he had only grazed my clothes. But I still had to be on my guard. A demon! A bloody demon! Spat Kid. So all that creepy stuff was an illusion? The slug disappeared like smoke. I knew it. But the demon was still there, ready his side again, and began inching towards us. What was I going to do? Went for him with my knife. I made a dash to one side of it, lifting my finger as I went. Tore through the creature, paper thin skin. Flesh wound. Naughty things laughing at us! It was two, chuckling maniacally in a way that made me deeply uneasy. Raised my knife again, prepare myself for the worst. Okay, you went away again. couldn't shake the sense of unease that filled me and peered uneasily at the darkness through which the fog creature disappeared. So yeah, wait a second, what's that? There was a leather bag on the ground. Recently cooked meat. Lucky me. Oi, where's my share? Busted. Pretended not to hear. I was doing great. Okay, so this is a text that indicates my health. So right now I'm at full health. That's what they're saying. So I'm gonna save here. Eventually we came across an ornate door on the right hand side. It was Rudel's room, Link's daughter. We went in. We found a self-tidy working room, knickknacks. Is someone there? Came the voice of a young woman. We shrank into the shadow. Oh, it's her. The woman appeared from deeper within the room. She was lightly made up and had a gentle, unthreatening air about her. It was Link's daughter. Strange. I'm sure I heard someone. I was at a loss as to what to do for a moment, but before I had time to do much more than hold my breath, Kid had already darted over. So, thrust her knife out, stopping the blade only a hair's breadth from the woman's neck. Like a hostage situation? Damn. Where's the frozen flame? Answer me! Her voice came out in a harsh growl. I rushed in to hold Kid's back before she hurt the poor woman. Kid, do we really have to do it this way? Shut your trap, Sag! Riddell couldn't help but giggle as she watched us bickering. What are you laughing at? Kid shot Riddell a harsh look. It's just... you don't seem like thieves at all. You want me to cut you, girl? I'd be surprised if that knife could cut anything. For a moment I felt faint, imagining Riddell on the floor covered in blood. But then clang! Kid had thrown her knife to the floor, and I saw that it was only a letter opener. Heh! Didn't think you noticed. Whatever, I'm not here to mess around killing the likes of you anyway. I have no desire for bloodshed either, said Riddell in a voice that was almost a whisper. I am not your enemy. In fact, I want to help you. There wasn't a hint of hesitation or deception in her voice. Let me guess. You're trapped in the manor too? Riddell only lowered her eyes sadly in response to Kid's question. The frozen flame should never have been allowed to fall into Lynx's hands. Riddell spoke quietly, but deep emotion clearly underpinned her words. The flame was once the property of an ancient kingdom to the north, who kept it for generations. It was said to have the uncanny power to guide people and change history itself. After the kingdom fell, the flame changed hands countless times, until eventually it came into my father's possession. That was before I was born. Sometime later, Lynx became aware of the flame's true value and approached my father's under false pretenses of friendship. Not a soul suspected what his true intentions were. And then, on that horrible day, he destroyed everything. He killed everything. Riddell shook her head, then buried her face in her hands. I don't care about the frozen flame. I don't care about that stupid accursed stone. It means nothing to me. I just wanted to take it away from Lynx and smash it to pieces right in front of him. And only we can make that happen. Riddell looked up with surprise as McGill... Oh, only we can make that happen. Riddell looked surprised as McGill spoke. No one else in the world can seize that jewel from Lynx. Riddell stared speechlessly. And then in a low voice she whispered, What can I do to help you? There's a survivor of the Acacia Dragoons in the dungeon who we want to help. And if we're to help him, we need your help, said McGill, taking a step forward. What? That man is a traitor. It's because of him that that Zoranda. Please, it's the only way. Riddell turns her way to us and hung her head low. The Chamber of Death. There might be something to bring him back to his senses there. The Chamber of Death, is that the tower thing? After all, it was there that he chose to abandon his pride, his life. So now we see Riddell from her clothes. She's blonde, with a white dress and green ribbons all over. She has a golden brooch with a red jewel on it. I assume the Chamber of Death must be the cell with the trap ceiling. Riddell nodded. Yeah, that's gonna be a problem. That thing damn near killed us the last time. You will need to take the Iron Lanza with you. It is a sacred sword said to have been forged by an ancient sage and a sister blade to the crimson cursed Masamune. Yeah, I remember that blade. The timeless blessing of the Highlanza will surely keep you safe from the Chamber of Death's wickedness. It used to be such a sight to see in the hands of Zoranda. It danced like the wind, shone like the stars, and struck like lightning. Lost again in memories of fonder times. Oh, Riddell once more bowed her head. Forgive me, I have little more to tell you. You've told us more than enough. We'll take our leave now, said McGill, turning and making for the door. I wish I had the strength to change things like you do, whispered Riddell, biting her lip. Kid hesitated for a moment, seemingly deep in thought. It ain't about strength. It's about having a purpose, something to fight for. I will be praying for you. Kid shot Riddell a look over her shoulder. Great, maybe you can cross your fingers too. He left the room. The passage outside the room continued to our left and right. Going right would take us to Lynx's room. Meanwhile, going left would take us to the atrium in another branch. Toward the atrium. But then we're gonna take the stairs. Dead end with a large door led to the terrace. Narrow side in the front was open. Okay, you have to go toward the terrace. Then straight ahead. Following the corridor. Oh, random encounter. Kid stopped in her tracks. Something's there. Quickly looked around to see what it was. There was nothing behind us or in front of us. Where could it be? And then, just as I was trying to figure it out, the wall began moving. A rectangular section opened up and swung around, revealing two enormous goblins clinging to the back. It was like something from one of those stories about assassins sneaking around in an old castle. Yeah. So they were trap doors to bring some guards. Alright, we have to fight goblins. You goblins? They definitely look like goblins to me, be a touch on the large side. They were 4 in total, the 2 in front of us and 2 that appeared behind us, cutting out our path to escape. McGill rushed toward the 2 behind us. Meanwhile, Kip left the 2 in front, holding her knife in both hands. I drew my knife and rushed to Kip's sides. Crash! The spike ball of Goblin's Morning Star marched to the ground, crushing the stone flooring. Kid nimbly leapt up into the air, evading the attack and landing on the Goblin's exposed hand. She swung upward towards the Goblin's head, plunging her knife into his left eye. Then she flipped backwards and stood ready for the next attack. That was Kid style. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. The next goblin charging, swing his morning star at me. Tried to copy Kid's trick. No, jump back. Jump back to keep my distance. For a moment I thought about copying Kid's trick, but I didn't have the confidence to pull it off. I was better off keeping an eye on my enemy and doing things my own way. Though I did wish I could fight like her. The goblin pulled down the iron ball on the floor and came at me swinging overhead. Threw my knife using the opportunity to steal the mace from the goblin's belt and get behind it. Okay, threw my knife in the goblin's face. There was a squelch as it sank into the creature's right eye. I took the opportunity to slip by, grabbing his mace as I passed it. I turned, and I heaved the heavy weapon right at his face. It was all going well until it wasn't. The goblin caught the mace just before it struck. I was in serious trouble. I let go of the mace. Something grabbed me and slammed me into the wall. The wind had knocked out of me and I fell to the ground. Then I was holding my chest as grasping for breath. I saw the goblin move over me and burst into flame. A fireball! I looked to the side and saw McGill walking towards me through the smoke. I thanked McGill for his timely intervention. So he took care of his two goblins and took care of mine. Struth! You're a gutless wonder, Sarge! Grumbled Gill. Business as usual as I resumed, it seems. Sometimes I really did despair. Would it have hurt her to hurt me just for once in a while, if only to mix things up a bit? I'm a grown man, you know, I have feelings. But as ever, I said it to only to myself. Trying to tell her that for real would have been a swift route to an early grave and nothing else. So I let her word wash over me and did my best to stay strong. Okay, so I didn't get any damage. I'm doing great. Okay. So this is the clock tower. Continue on. Continue on. We went inside. I don't care what we might find in here, even if it could lead us straight to the frozen flame. I ain't going in until we found a way to deal with that trap. McGill, meanwhile, was lost in thought. Riddle mentioned an ancient blade, the Heinlenza. Without it, I doubt we'll find a way to progress. Huh. Well, if that means we're taking our search somewhere else, I'm happy to oblige. Oh. So the organ room. Okay. The organ room was next to the study. Ah, man. Continued on. Kept falling into corridor. Toward the main hall. We went in. Kid gently pushed the heavy doors, peek inside. Looks like the coast is clear. Nothing. So what's left? The clock tower? If we kept going straight on, back to the terrace. Okay. We open the door. In we go! Silver bread and reach for the handle. The door was unlocked, it swung slowly open. Okay. The room was silent, there was no sign of life. There it is, our ticket to not getting turned to miss me. The ancient sword was right where Kid had left it after pulling it down from a pile of junk. You gotta be kidding me! The rusty sword was the Islandser? Looking down the sword, Miguel motored 2 ancient blades, the sacred Islandser and the cursed Masamune. What you on about, Mag? You know something about this Master Mune? McGill said nothing. Well, it seems to mean something to you. It does. Uh-huh. Something to do with old friends I don't know about? Not exactly. An enemy then? Not exactly. Ugh, you're being weird, Mag. Well, whatever. Oi, numbnuts! Grab this thing for me, will ya? I was still standing in the doorway when Kid called over to me. Who, me? Yeah, you, or were you gonna make me lug the bloody thing around the place? I'm just a scrawny little girl, ain't I? Call yourself a gentleman. My jaw drop or scrawny little what? Okay, my jaw dropped. I knew there wasn't anything I could say to her. Silently, I walked over to Kid and picked up the sword like I was told. Whoa, I nearly fell over. That thing was heavy. Good boy. Right, off to the chamber of death. Eyes on the prize, lads. Dragging the sword behind me, I followed Kid out of the room. Okay. So it was the clock tower. Okay. Okay. Stretch right, left of the manor, led back to the terrace. Okay, so we went right. Continued on. We went inside. All right. Well, this place is just as creepy as I remember. Lovely. Grumbled Kid. She was looking at the stains on the wall. The ceiling has been pulled back up, but there was no reason to believe it might not come grinding down again at any moment. Bearing in mind what Riddell had told us the room was called, it definitely wasn't somewhere we wanted to linger. Quickly, hissed McGill, before crouching down and examining the ground for clues. Kid and I crushed down too. What were even we looking for, though? What could the old man have left in his room that could help us bring him back to reality? The flagstones on the floor were smeared with a black, gooey substance which gave off an rotten aroma. I shook my head, trying to drive an uncomfortable thought from my mind. Huh? Sorry, I'm checking some messages. Like there was an alert that was bugging me. Kid saw me and clearly wasn't doing much better herself. She slowly turned, positioning herself so that she was facing away from the stain on the wall. There was no point in thinking like that, just had to try, but then... The door slammed shut and the gears ground into life. Here we bloody go again! We have to stop it. If we don't deal with the trap, we'll never find what we're looking for. Okay. ceiling sank lower and lower. We ducked our heads, desperately trying to avoid the blade that jutted down from the bottom. Kid looked to me and screamed, "The sword! Use the Highlander!" What? How do you use a sword? I plunged the sword into the ceiling, I plunged the sword into the ground, I plunged the sword into Kid. There! I drove the sword into the floor with all my might. A shock ran through the room. Beams of light scattered from the blade, covering the floor and walls, and then racing upwards. The ceilings gave an almighty judder, then stopped. We made it. I sank to the floor helplessly, my heart racing. Hey, what's that? Kid was pointing at the part of the wall. It was where we'd seen the message written in blood. Guess we found what we were looking for. Part of the wall had collapsed, revealing a cavity behind what looked like a piece of solid stone. Inside, I could see something faintly in the darkness. Kid reached with their fingertips, carefully extracting whatever it was from within. It was a slender ring, with a delicately engraved design that looked like overlapping fern. The acacia. So it's a ring that belonged to the dragoons. The ring was adorned with several small rubies in a pattern that resembled a bunch of grapes. The crest of Acacia. This must be an Acacian signet. Kid put the ring on her middle finger where it sat uneasily. It didn't seem to be her side. The rubies gave off an eerie glint. Right, let's not spend any more time in the air than we have to. We managed to foil the trap and retrieve the Acacian signet. I left the Einlenzer where it stood and we exited the room. With Kid in the lead, we headed downstairs. We went down the stairs, continued straight ahead, eventually coming across a sturdy looking door on our right. Straight ahead. Continued on. Continued on. We kept following the corridor. We went down the stairs. Towards the atrium. We pressed on. And we have a skeleton. Blood dripped from my face, put the blade, scratched my cheek. Yeah, it's doing the enchantment thing on the mage. And then we wake up Mag. I wonder what's gonna happen. Like, I don't feel comfortable in changing my combination, just in case I took some damage. I'm taking a few knocks, but I was all right. A scrape of 2 wouldn't stop me. Okay, so that's my health. Went left towards the dungeon. Yeah. I hope that this was the last time I have to come here. Having retrieved the Acacian signet, we returned to the old man's cell. As soon as we got there, Magill took a step forward and grabbed onto the bars. They creaked and groaned as he heaved at them, gritting his teeth as he summoned every ounce of his might. Slowly, they bowed apart. He stepped into the cell through the gap, and Kid and I followed. The old man was exactly as we had left him, staring into space and muttering meaningless words. Kid walked over to him and crouched down. She grabbed to him by the collar and yelled at him, "Wakey, wakey, Granddad! We got a few questions for ya. Here, get an eyeful of this. Rings any bells, Kid waves the Acacian signet in his face, shaking him roughly all the while. The old man's head lolled as he limply allowed himself to be manhandled. I stepped between them and tried to stop her. I asked Magill to make Kid stop. I look at Magill in horror. Is this how we're going to break through the shell? Fear not. This approach is as good as any. But do we even have the right to drag the poor man back into reality like this? Hasn't he suffered enough? I'm prepared to do anything to achieve our goal. Magill stared right through me with that ice-cold gaze.
Oh, an Acacian signet! The symbol of our vows, bestowed only upon sworn Acacian dragoons.
A low voice, almost a moan. I spun around in surprise. His eyes began to cloud once more.
So my former allies have finally come for me. I am to blame. It is because of my indiscretion that the Frozen Flame was stolen, and all of that, and that of all the Acacian dragoons, only I remain here in the manor. But now all is well, for you have returned. Oh, Melgid, Zoranda, where have you been all this time? Did you all return to Lake Stoic?
Never mind all that, Granddad. Where's the Frozen Flame? Give us a clue, anything. Come on, out with it. Couldn't decide if Kid sounded more annoyed or more desperate.
The Frozen Flame?
The old man looked momentarily confused, and then the wan swam across his face.
My word, Lady Riddell! It has been far too long since last I had the pleasure. Why, you need only turn the third candlestick from the left as you enter the main hall. That will open the underground vault, as you know.
Ah! The goddamn organ. Yeah. Okay, third candlestick from the left. Kid wrapped her arms around the old man and held him tight. And then, in a trembling voice, she whispered, "I'm sorry. Promise we'll get it back." The old man recoiled in horror and then began to sob once more.
I am to blame. It's all my fault. Forgive me. Forgive me. Look, if you want to get out of here, now's your chance.
But he was no use. He was too busy cowering and wailing to hear me. Oh. We're done here, Sag. We can't help him, and there's things we need to be doing. Thank you, I whispered to the old man before following Kid and Magill out of the dungeon. Third candlestick from the left. So making our way down the dark corridor, take a branch in the path. Atrium fountain, stairs going down. Atrium. Continued on. Stairs going up. Right toward the main hall. We went inside. Looks like the coast is clear. We stepped to the main hall. The great hall was filled with a heavy silence, a silence unbroken save for the ticking of a large clock that slowly counted the passage of time, as if waiting for something. Several portraits glared down at us with cold eyes. We moved through the feeble glow of the candles. "Third candlestick from the left," whispered Kid. 1, 2, 3. There. She reached out towards it. I held my breath as I watched. "Say your prayers, Lynx. We're coming for ya!" Kid turned the candlestick. The room trembled with a sudden rhythmic grumbling sound as if a massive gear was turning. "What's that?" For a moment I felt a strange sensation, as if I was floating. "You feel that?" I started to stagger. "The entire room seems to be moving downward," came the reply from McGill. Couldn't quite believe it, but I also couldn't deny the feeling of downward motion. The main hall was sinking into the earth. "Yeah, it's in the elevator." And then another rumble. The room's descent rapidly accelerated. Whoa! Cold sweat dripped from my back. My heart filled with a mixture of fear and anticipation. What was waiting for us down there? The frozen flame, our prize at the end of this little adventure. But what was it really? Would it live up to our expectations? I tightened my fists, which were slick with sweat. My email, because I created a support ticket. I got an email that says that it's been acknowledged and I'm going to receive a response within 5 business days. So I have until the end of the week to see if they got my message. What were Kid and Mag all thinking? The room remained veiled in silence. As if in response to my thought, a quiet voice came from next to me. "Sometimes It was Kid. I looked over to see her standing stiffly, staring forward with her hands clenched into fists. "Sometimes I feel like I'm stuck in a losing battle, a fight I'll never win, no matter what I do." It was a side of her I'd never witnessed before. Even from this angle, I could see far and doubt flickering across her face. I felt the tender sting in my heart. "What are you fighting? We'll win, I promise." "What are you fighting against?" "Good question. Fight, maybe? Life, even? I'm not sure I can put my finger on it exactly. It ain't Lynx. I mean, sure, I'm here to fight him, but that's different. It ain't clear-cut like that. I feel like there's another me inside of me. One that's just sitting there looking at how empty and pointless everything I do is. That's the best way I can describe it anyhow. Yeah, because of her origin. She's part Lavos. That's why, the angry energy. Yeah, listen to me. Load of bloody nonsense, eh?" She smiled ruefully. I didn't know exactly what she meant, but I felt like I knew broadly what she was getting at. She may have talked tough, but underneath it all, she felt fear and uncertainty just like the rest of us. I mean, that was no great revelation in and of itself, but hearing her say it out loud gave me a strange sense of relief. I stole another sidelong glance at her. Her expression was different, more mature somehow. "Sorry, mate. You didn't need to hear that. Not exactly me trading my brand of carefree banter, eh?" She struck out her tongue. Normal service had been resumed. Or so it seemed for a second. "Thanks, Sarge. And you, Mag," she said, suddenly serious again. "Couldn't have made it as far without your boat. Listen, if you don't After this, I mean, if we don't get another chance to... Huh? You know what? Forget it. She closed her eyes and forced a smile. I wasn't sure how to respond, so true to form, I just stared at her some more. I could have sworn I caught a flicker of a grin cross McGill's face too. He was standing just at the edge of my field of vision, arms crossed and eyes closed. Yeah, that's 100% Magus's pose. But maybe it was just my imagination. A contemplative silence descended as the hall continued its journey down into the bowels of the manor. A crash split the silence as if we'd collided with something. A loud metallic scraping filled the air. The room rocked and finally came to a halt. Da-da-da. Looks like the end of the line. All change. The swelling grandeur of the organ suddenly filled the air. Is this a boss battle? Have we reached the end already? What? No one as much as touched it, and yet the keys and the pedals were moving by themselves. The melody played was both unsettling and sad. Funeral tune, is it? Way to greet your guests. Kid took a long stride forward, then turned to face me and McGill. Come on, let's go! McGill and I gently nodded our assent. Kid grinned, then turned back to the door. I'm coming for you, legs! This is the end for you! And with that, she led us from the hall. Continue down a long dark corridor, the walls thick with condensation. The air was thick and heavy and as though ripe with the stench of death. We were really getting close to Link's vaults. Were we really getting close to Link's hidden vault at last? And was there any turning back now for any of us? Right now I cannot save. There was something strange about Kid that night. McGill didn't seem to be his usual self either. To begin with, it was vanishingly rare for him to speak so much, let alone to show any kind of emotion. What happened to make them change like that? Unable to take the silence anymore, I decided to speak. I had to ask the question that had been on my mind all this time. What is a frozen flame, or why do you want the frozen flame so badly? Hey kid, why do you want the frozen flame so badly? All I got in reply was the cold echo of her footfalls. I should have known. She didn't like to talk about her reasons for doing things. After all, it was a topic that was likely to lead to discussion of her past. But then she spoke, though it was almost a whisper. I'm doing it for Sis. Before she died, she told me to find the frozen flame and bury it. Bury it where? Her old mate's grave. Huh? Her dad? Or her friend? Kid looked at her feet as she walked. She wasn't me real sister, but she was as good as family to me. When she took me in, I was bloody helpless. Couldn't remember a thing, and was barely old enough to survive on my own. She didn't go into much detail about who her mate was. Best I can remember is that I needed to find the grave of a girl who married another mate of hers and died not long after. Okay, so this is Merle's grave. They wanted to bury it at the Bell. She said that's where the frozen flame should be laid to rest or something like that. To be honest, I wasn't paying much attention at the time. It's not like I couldn't have known what was about to happen. When she disappeared and I realized she wasn't coming back though, I swore I'd make good on what she asked me to do. I would nab the frozen flame from that rat bastard Lynx and get my revenge. Kid's eyes almost seemed to glow with the heat in the cold night air. I'll make him pay for everything he's done. No matter what it takes, even if it kills me. And then she fell silent. Sorry, kid, I didn't mean to bring up something so painful. There was a pause before she replied. Nah, you're alright. I should have said something sooner before I roped you into this. Sorry. Da-da-da. Silence reigns supreme as I fumble around to try and find something to say in reply. But all that filled the darkness of the corridor was the sound of yet more footsteps. Suddenly, Magill stopped in his tracks. Wait. Huh? Kid turned around, puzzled. Just then, a powerful light surged across the floor and a ring-shaped sigil appeared. Damn it, a blood circle! Kid and Magill went at least quick enough to try and jump clear. But they weren't quick enough. The three of us were trapped in a circle of biting light. This is us. The sigil rotated left and right with us at the center, cutting out all routes of escape. Yeah, we're never gonna see his face, but that's basically... Yeah, he's not even standing up. That's Magus. He's not wearing the same clothes, but... Yeah, we're trapped. A wall of heat and wind blew up around us, and swirling lines and spirals of light assailed us wherever we turned. Don't let the light mesmerize you. Cover your eyes, shouted Magill, raising a hand over his mask. Turn with the light, not against it. There has to be a way out. What? Oh, I barely understand what's going on. Kid's elbow brushed against the wall of light surrounding us, sent sparks flying. Be careful! Barely to touch it is more than enough to harm you. Stay well back. I slowly turned my body to follow the movement of the ring of light, looking for a gap to escape through. Turn right 3 times, turn right twice, turn left 3 times, turn left twice. So there's left. Oh! 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh! So I turn left twice and turn right 3 times. Let's try this. Turn left twice. 2 steps to the left. Nope. We made through one of the barriers of light, but not without taking a few bumps and bruises. We are out of the woods yet. There is still another wall of light still swirling with a great wind. Okay, so this is left, this is right. Turn right 3 times. 3 times to the right. No. Oh, okay. So this is trial and error. Turn right twice. Two steps to the right. There, I see it. That's our way through. Okay, 2 right. Kid, Maggie, this way. Okay. Suddenly my body felt light and I staggered 2 or 3 steps forward. We were back in the deserted passageway we'd been walking down before the blood circle had appeared. Oh! That was a lucky guess. The sigil had vanished from the floor and everything was silent as if nothing had even been amiss. And then I look up. Looks like we've finally made it, boys! Kid strolled up to the door with a wicked grin on her face. The true frozen flame awaits! Magill's eyes gave a glint from behind his mask like glass catching moonlight in the darkness of night. Can I save? No! Let's go! Keith reached for the handle. So this is the place, huh? Kid narrows her eyes, trying to see her surroundings in the darkness. A vast pitch-black expanse surrounded us whichever way we looked. It was as if we entered an impossibly vast cave. So yeah, there's another frozen flame. Looks the same as the other. Same design as the other. I still say this is a fake. We were in a place forgotten by time, unknown to the world, hidden asleep within the bowels of night. A gentle crimson light hovered in the darkness, the frozen flame. Alright, now it's ours! The light of the flame ebbed and waned gently as if responding to Kid's voice. Cannot save. What the heck is this place? There's mountains of bloody rubble everywhere. McGill took a step further into the room and said in a whisper that was almost a groan, "No, it can't be." But it is. The ruins of the lost kingdom of ages. The voice drifted down from the darkness from above. Is that Lynx? The lost kingdom of ages. This is, Zoa? He remembers his own home. Is that the Gestalt machine right there? It looks like it is. Kid looked up in shock. Lynx! I'll kick your flea-bitten horses so hard you'll kiss the moon! Kid pulled her knife from her belt and threw it as hard as she could. Of course, it fell to the floor with a clang as if knocked out of the air by some unseen hand. Still the same impetuous child as ever, I see. That's no way to greet an old friend. Smarmy bastard! Kid gritted her teeth with rage. And you, Shadow Dweller, I'll have none of your tricks this time. You must think me of a fool if you believe I'll fall for that again. Magal, who always been quietly slipping into the darkness that surrounded us, stopped dead in his tracks. So it was the infamous Lynx. The lord of this deadly manor. It doesn't look like Lynx. That's a poor character design on that part. The man who had murdered the closest thing Kid had to family, who had assassinated General Viper and eradicated the order of the Acacia de Dragoons. A pleasure as always, my dear Kid. And I must say, you followed the trail of breadcrumbs I laid for you admirably closely, my great little sneak thief. What the bloody? She steps forward, bristling. Lynx narrowed his eye as his lips twist into a snarl. You know what I want, Kid. Give me the stone you carry. Not the time pendant. The stone? Did Kid have some kind of jewel I didn't know about? Don't know what you're all about, mate. She just about managed to recover her composure, narrowing her eyes scornfully at her old foe. Spare me the act, child. I know that you have it. I know she gave it to you. Hand over the time egg. Now. The what? Whatever it was, I'd never heard of it. Yeah, dreaming, if you think I'll give it to the likes of you, Kid shot back. Oh, she knows what he's talking about. It's all I have left of her. I'll never let go of it. Not for anyone, and definitely not for you. I'll tell you what's gonna happen, you bastard. First, I'm gonna take the frozen flame, and then I'm gonna ram it down your throat.
Incorrigible young fool. I was hoping this might be a civilized exchange. Alas, it seems my words will only fall on deaf ears, and you are determined to repeat your past errors.
Lynx moved his hands to the grip of the ornate golden saber that hangs from his belt.
Last time, I showed you mercy and let you live with your life. That was a mistake, one which I mean to correct.
Serge! McGill, stay back! Kid took a step forward, glaring at Lynx, her gaze unflinching. This ends here and now! You'll pay for what you've done! You'll pay for what you did to Luca! Name drop. With a scream, Kid leapt up into the air like a bird taking flight. Her foot lashed out in a siding kick, aimed right at the side of Lynx's head. But there was no contact. Where Lynx has been mere moments before, now there was only empty space. While he warped, Kid landed and immediately launched herself back into the air, putting the full force of her momentum into another kick. This time, Lynx leaned back, letting Kid's foot swing past the only hair's breadth from his nose. And then it was Lynx's turn. He lashed out with his saber, carving an arc through the air in front of him. Kid was ready for him, however, and has already jumped back to a safe distance. The two glare at each other from mere footsteps apart.
At least you had the decency to prepare a little better than last time, Lynx purred.
A red line appeared on Kid's cheek, slowly coalescing into a drop of blood. Kid! In a flash, she launched herself into yet another attack. Lynx dodged to the side and made to strike her with the hilt of his saber. Kid moved awkwardly to avoid the attack, losing her foot. And then Lynx was on her like a bird of prey before she could fully recover. There was a gasp and a cough as Lynx drove his knee into the pit of her stomach. Kid collapsed. A steady stream of red dripped from her lips.
Will that be all, girl?
Lynx gave Kid a merciless kick to the side, sending her flying. She landed on a pile of rubble, her body rolling until she hit a large stone pillar, and there she lay, lifelessly still. Kid? Kid! I screamed her name as I charged toward Lynx. But Magill was there already. He flew through the darkness, part of the shadow, before crashing down Lynx like a bolt from the blue. Lynx jumped back, and countless threads of light flew from his fingertips towards McGill. With a droning hum, the threads of light surrounded McGill, crossing over one another. They spread to form a lattice of light that gave off a blinding glare and trapped McGill where he stood. Alright, so incapacitated.
What is this?
McGill staggered and rolled, attempting to shield his eyes with his hands.
It is a simple enough spell, my shadowy friend, for those inclined to learn it. And one which, sadly for you, leaves no darkness in which to hide.
Yes, since he's a shadow walker, he binds it with light, so he cannot flee towards the shadows. Lynx leered at Magill with a venomous grin.
You've been quite the thorn in my side. I'll let you live long enough to regret it.
McGill struggled and groaned. I had to do something. Kid and Magill needed me. But what I was going to do? Challenge Lynx, I ran to Maggie, I ran to Kid. I challenged Lynx? I didn't choose that. I didn't choose that! Lynx has started making his way over Kid while I was paralyzed with indecision.
What's the matter, kid?
You were so bold only a moment ago. Aren't you going to keep me entertained? Lynx looked down his nose at Kid's broken body.
Now, do you want to give me the time egg? You can still be civilized about this. I, of course, a gentleman.
and it pains me to have to seize a fair maiden's valuable by force. Even if the fair maiden in question is in fact a filthy street rat. He pressed his foot onto the kid's head. You could hear the voice faint and breathless. It's Lucas. It's Lucas though, it's not yours. I'll never give it to anyone, and no way will I give it to the likes of you. Couldn't let get too closer to her. What I'm going to do, I ran to McGill. I ran to McGill's side. Mag, are you okay? Leave me, you fool. You need to help kid. Groaning grimace with pain, the web of light holding him mercilessly in place. But, I heard a scream from behind me. Go to her, Surge, now! Delay any longer and you will regret forever. Okay, I get it. He looked me dead in the eye. Do not make the same mistake I once made. You must protect her. I gave him a silent loud, but going to my feet turned towards the little kid. Fool. Brinkley a zipper over his head. Then plunge it into kid's chest. Yeah. Indecision plus going the wrong way equals death. Her body twisted as she gave a keening cry. Kid! She slowly turned her face towards me. Her eyes locked onto mine. Her lips tremble as if she tries to say something. A thick stream of blood trickled from the little mouth I used so to long for. And then a single tear dropped from her cheek. With that, something precious left her body. A wordless scream escaped my body, surging up from the bottom of my belly. Kid's slender hands fell to the floor, and her fingers uncurled. A small black jewel rolled to the ground. Picked it up. Lynx looked at it with wonder. The time egg. But before he could finish, the jewel sucked into the surrounding light, swelling to a heavy mass. Everything vanished as the blackness spread. Was the world being swallowed by darkness itself? Kid! So was that a failsafe?